You know what happens when you stop being persistent?
Hmm. It's a shocker, but the results you've gotten stop happening.
What is up, side hustlers, entrepreneurs, business builders, and dream makers? Welcome to the Set of Your Side Hustle Podcast, episode 88. It's great to be back in your buds once again. Happy Monday. And guys, I'm just going to make today a very personal episode. It's just gonna like life updates, business updates, what's going on in my world, and why I haven't been so consistent. So that being said, let's get into it. When we started this podcast, the intent and the stated desire and the public claim was that it was going to be a daily podcast, and we're going to go every single day of the work week until we hit a minimum of 100 episodes. We said we wanted to do it for a solid year. And as you've probably noticed, that's kind of teetered off. Last week, we only got a couple episodes out. The week before, we only got a couple episodes out. And you're probably thinking what most people think or should think, because it's what happens with most things like this, most podcasts like this. Most of the time when people make commitments like this, what they end up doing is just falling short and not upholding their promises. And they end up breaking their promises to themselves. They end up not continuing with the goal, and they end up just not having it in them to be consistent. And I want to be the first to tell you a couple things about our situation with the Set of Your Side Hustle podcast. First and foremost, I want to make it very clear we still have the same desire and intent as we have stated. You might notice moving forward that I removed the daily podcast from statement from the intro because clearly it's not the case that I can be 100% consistent, but I have the desire to be consistent about it. So if you get 2 episodes a week, 3 episodes a week, 4 episodes a week, or 5 episodes a week, no, my desire is to have 5 episodes a week. And that is the goal I am working towards. It is not the case that we've stopped. It's not the case that we're slowing down, though it looks like that. I'll explain why in a moment. And it is not the case that anything about our initial agenda, our initiative has changed as far as this podcast is concerned. Number 2, last couple months have been by far the worst months of my life. Nothing else comes close. And it might sound like I'm being dramatic. I'm not being dramatic. I've had seasons in my life. I've had 2 seasons in my life where I was struggling pretty severely with things like depression. I've had multiple continual seasons of my life where I struggle with anxiety and panic attacks. And I can tell you the last couple months have been worse than those. And that's saying a lot because of where I've been. They haven't been bad because of my own mental health. I actually think in retrospect, I've done a very good job of being very mentally healthy going through everything. These are external circumstances outside of my control that are tragedies. And they're the kinds of things that most people deal with at some point in their life. And up until this point in my life, I had been blessed and lucky enough to never deal with. So let me just get into those. On July 5th, my grandfather passed away. Now, I officiated his service. I also planned his funeral. And I said something then that I'm going to share with you now that is where this was a pretty easy one to bounce back from because my grandfather was first given 5 years to live 22 years ago. And so he was in a place in life where we knew this was coming. I had personally been mourning it and grieving his passing for the last 4 years. So when it came to pass, I was mentally prepared for it. And so I was able to help take care of the family and officiate the service. So then his service was on July 21st. And on August 4th, we had another loss in the family. This one was not planned. This one was not expected. This one was not time. My sister, at the age of 30, passed away. And that was really hard. And her service was this last weekend, Saturday. And for the last couple of months, I've really been struggling. And I've been struggling in all areas of business. I've been struggling to maintain consistency on this podcast. I've been struggling to maintain consistency on my other content form. I've been struggling to maintain consistency on delivering for my clients. And as a result, last month, September, I ended up losing about 45% of my revenue, which is more than half of my profit margin. And so suddenly we went from the spot where we were planning to have an office space, and we were considering our first hire for the business, and we were running ads, and we were having all of these plans for expansion, and the goals for the end of the year were $30,000 a month in revenue, which seemed very hittable. We saw the trajectory, and with the way that these life circumstances wrecked me and we lost 45% of our revenue, we switched to this position where we're once again not making enough to pay our bills. And so there's huge shift in business that caused me to reorient everything. I wanted to have a part of this episode be talking about the strategies that I'm using right now to rebound and grow back and grow better, that I know will be successful. I have a high degree of confidence in them. They're very exciting. You can see I have a goal chart once again, which tells you I've followed my XMP method once again, which is funny because it's October, so I'm almost a year back to the last time I made it visual like this, which was November of last year. But I think just given where I'm at emotionally, mentally, currently, I'm actually just going to hold that off for the next episode. I love you guys. I appreciate you so much. I just wanted to be candid and transparent. By the way, I am not the person who makes excuses. So while I see the connection to the loss of revenue, I can tell you, just like the opener said, that it's due to a lack of consistency. And I see the connection. I know it's because of my mental health. I know it's because of the grieving process. And I'm not one who's going to make excuses. Fact of the matter is, if you're not able to maintain your obligations, if you're not able to keep your promises by the letter of your contract, you don't deserve the benefits of that contract. If I was an employee, then I would have bereavement leave, right? And that would have been something that was built into the contract that I agreed to, and I would get that benefit, which would mean I would continue earning my income. But as a self-employed business owner, I'm not like that, right? I made contracts that said I would do this and they would do this. And when I didn't do this, they have every right to stop doing this. When I can't uphold my end of the deal, they have every right to stop upholding their end of the deal. That's perfectly respectable. And I don't have any hard feelings with any of my clients who let me go last month. They gave me most of them actually gave me a full month of, hey, we understand, we get it. And they gave me space, and they gave me a lot of, it was a huge blessing how they were optimally accommodating as much as they could be for where their businesses were at. And I have nothing but respect for them. I don't think any of the contracts that ended on bad terms. And I completely understand and respect their decisions. They have a business to run. And frankly, I have absolutely no idea how long it's going to take until I'm back to 100%. I know I'm hustling and I'm grinding once again, and I'm doing exactly what I teach you guys in my material. And I'm doing some new things that are going to be in like volume 2 of the book coming up, something like that. And I love you guys so much, and I appreciate your support. It means a lot to me. Talk to you next episode. God bless.